Just About Sailing, February 2019. Looking forward to this one. This is the installation of the Chinese diesel air heater, and I'm looking forward to it because it's cold and I want to do some work in the boat. This is going to be split into two parts. The first video is all about the considerations of where to put the heater and why and so on, so I'm going to discuss that. I'm not saying this is how to do it, by the way, just saying this is the things that I'm thinking about. And then the second part is going to be the actual installation and the testing and getting it running. So as I say, looking forward to getting this sorted out because it is quite cold and I want to do some things in the boat. If you're new to this channel, because some of you might have kind of wandered here simply seeing the words Chinese diesel air heater, because this is something that seems to fascinate. There's almost as many videos on this subject as there are on cats doing funny things on YouTube. This is not a DIY channel, it's just a grey-haired old bloke trying to get his boat back in the water. It's just about sailing in terms of, I'm only just sailing, I'm just about sailing. So do put comments and so on below. It would be useful if you know more about what I'm doing and where I might have gone wrong, if you disagree or something. And if you're looking at doing your own installation, then do read the comments below. Yeah, I take no responsibility for anybody who does things my way if it turns out to be wrong. So what I'm going to do, let's have a look at the diesel heater, and then I'm going to have a look at some of the consideration. I've done some drawings, then we'll have a look at the boat, and then we'll take it. So, diesel heater has arrived, a lot quicker than I thought. I ordered it on Friday the 22nd of December. It's now Monday the 31st of December 2018, and it's come all the way from China. Fantastic. There are a lot of unboxings of these things on YouTube, so I'm not going to do that. And mostly people unbox it to try and figure out what's missing and so on. I've got the 2 kilowatt version because I'd rather have the thing running flat out. 2 kilowatts is plenty, so I don't get any sooting up, etc. And the reason I ordered this particular model, which is slightly more expensive than some of the ones you get, is first of all it's got an aluminium casing rather than a plastic one, and secondly, not only has it got the LED display, but it's also got the remote control also with a display where you can not only switch it on and off, but you can actually put the temperature up and down. So that's why I specifically wanted this model. It's come with a slightly smaller diesel tank. Depending on where I fit it, I might use a separate diesel tank, and this one's probably fine, that's probably big enough. Or I might put it into the main tank. As I say, there are 2 current locations, but today I took the old fridge out, and that might be a place to put it. There's a few bits and pieces that I'm not going to use, like it's come with this tacky little exhaust, which doesn't look gas tight at all to me, so I might replace that one. You've seen these before, so you know what it comes with. It comes with a fuel pump, etc. Lots of bits and pieces, including clips. I shall replace these clips with stainless steel ones. I was expecting a bit more than that. That's not going to be enough. But this stuff is easy enough to get. Wouldn't have bothered me if it didn't come with any of that. I shall probably get, this seems a little bit cheap and flexible. I shall get some different exhaust. That's the exhaust. Wiring harness which just plugs in, and my understanding is with this slightly later heater is that the power wires are actually slightly bigger, slightly thicker, because I think these things are quite sensitive to voltage drop, a little bit like if you've got an autopilot. They are very sensitive to voltage drop. If it gets down to sort of below 11.5 or even down to 11.5, your tiller pilot stops working, and I think these are likewise sensitive. So that's come without anything else interesting. It's only come with one of these. It was supposed to have 2. It's got a 2-way thing, but I only need one output anyway. So yeah, very pleased with that so far. That looks absolutely fine, and it's obviously got the mounting plate. Oh, and the other thing, which they don't all come with, this one actually has an instruction booklet, and it's got useful things like the different heights that you're supposed to put these things. Unfortunately, it doesn't actually tell you what the maximum minimum for H and S should be, but I think I've seen that somewhere else. So, hey, an instruction book. And it's got specific instructions on the controller. What happens, it seems to start in a very large font, and by the time it gets down to the bottom, it's absolutely unreadable. And yeah, the instructions are translated directly from Chinese, so some of them are a bit strange. But anyway, very, very pleased with that. I'm looking forward to cracking on with that. Right, so why did I go for this particular heater then? Well, basically, an Eberspecher, and so this is, the Germans watching this can get me back for my pronunciation after I was talking about squirrels last week, but the one that I would have gone for would be an Eberspecher. Eberspecher? Anyway, they are anywhere from £800 from the ones you can get in from Turkey to about 1,700 for the complete marine kit. This cost me, and this is one of the more expensive ones from China, this cost me £156, including postage and packing from China. I reckon I'm going to have to pay about another £150 to say £300 altogether, because I am going to replace some of the parts. This is not a gas tight silencer. You know, anyway, I've mentioned that before. So so why do I feel comfortable about getting one of the Chinese ones? Well, basically because the way these things work is literally not rocket science. Actually, it is rocket science. Basically, the way it works is rocket science, which is actually very, very simple, the actual burner part of it. And for those who don't know, and some people say, well, are you not worried with a diesel heater that you're going to get exhaust fumes and diesel smells, etc.? So I thought I'd go through very briefly how these things actually work. So basically what we have is we have two completely separate sort of systems. We've got inlet air coming in here into this sort of cell, which is this sort of, I think you can see it, which is this sort of aluminium thing in here inside, which is completely sealed off. We then have fuel coming up in here, and there's a little glow plug thing which initially heats up to ignite the flame, to ignite the diesel. Once it's ignited, the glow plug switches off and it's simply the hot diesel. So what this does is this causes a very hot flame here, which heats up this chamber, and then the exhaust gets blown out here. I think this comes out, I don't know, I'm guessing, but I would guess about 200 to 300 degrees C, something like that. So very, very hot, which heats this inner thing up. And there's kind of there's a motor, there's a fan that does this. And so basically the deal is, the temperature you get from here is based on how much fuel is pushing through and how fast you're blowing it out, and that's where the clever electronics come in. So wrapped around that we have this shell, which in this case is aluminium. We have fresh air. Now I'm probably going to get my fresh air from the outside, but you can have it from the cabin, and there are debates as to which is best for condensation. I think it's probably best to get it from the outside. And the fresh air comes in here around this aluminium shell, and as it goes further past this, the heat exchange turns it into very, very warm air. Where it comes out as heater air, I would guess about 70 degrees C maximum. I don't think it could be much hotter than that. And this obviously is where you have the ducting that goes around to the rest of the boat. So as I say, it really is very, very simple. I've read a lot of reviews on these. There's lots of YouTube channels. People seem to be delighted about them. The actual mechanical bit here, I think, is fairly straightforward. The cleverness is probably in the electronics and the quality, although there's not an awful lot to go wrong with these things. A new glow plug, if that goes wrong, is about £10. Some of them have clever software so that when you switch it off, it gives it a boost which burns out any carbon deposits, which can be a problem. But basically, if you remember to turn it off before you turn it off to give it a boost anyway. So what you might be saying is, well, okay then, Paul, you're so clever. If that's so simple, why don't you make one yourself? Well, I have. Here we go. What I've done is, because I'm not quite sure where to put this on the boat, and because it's quite heavy, you know, I can't remember how many kilograms it is, probably 3 or 4 kilograms, because that is actually quite heavy. I've made, and I'm getting famous for my cardboard work, I've made one out of cardboard. I've included the plate on it, although I might replace this plate with one of those L-shaped ones so I can bolt it easily on. So I can kind of play about with this and see where it will go on the boat for maximum efficiency. But yeah, I suppose you couldn't. No, you couldn't make one yourself. Anyway, let's get to the boat and let's see where we might actually put this. So hopefully that's clear. Most of you probably knew this anyway, but as I say, it is rocket science. But some rocket science is quite simple. We're not trying to get to the moon, just trying to keep ourselves warm. Right, so this is kind of the ideal configuration in an ideal boat, but of course none of us do we have ideal boats? I've put some coloration in here, so I think I got this from the Webasto site, can't remember, printed it off ages ago. So here's the actual heater itself, and then we see we've got this red thing which is the exhaust coming out the back. We've got the air ducting heating the actual boat up. We've got here the air inlet for the diesel heater bit, so this line here and this line here are the air in and out for the actual combustion chamber. Then here we simply have the air intake, so the air is just being taken out of the locker as far as I can see here. And so that's the kind of interesting and ideal situation. What was interesting for me about this, because I was really struggling and still am with the exhaust, is to see actually the exhaust is quite low down and then they just do this huge great big loop up to stop the water coming in. So because I was very conscious that it's quite difficult to actually get everything above the water level. So let's have a look at 3 options. We'll have a look at these options and then we'll have a look at how they look on the boat. So here is option number 1, and this is obviously a side view, and I've kind of drawn in, and this is based on when I took the sink out and there's a great big gap, and I thought, do you know what, I could actually fit the heater quite nicely there. It would really fit nicely. The air outlet to take the warm air into the cabin could go quite easily behind the cooker. There's a big space there. One of the considerations is obviously you want to have as few 90-degree bends as possible. Now I can't remember where I read this, but I did read that each time you have a 90-degree bend you lose about 5% of your heat, so as straight as it can go the better. I haven't actually drawn the water line on this one, so let me just quickly draw the water line in just to show you where that is. It's kind of, well, we've got green water here, it's kind of about there. So we've got the diesel heater here. We can put the air intake, because I don't really want to take the air in from the cabin, because I think it's actually better to take it from outside to increase the air circulation and to decrease the condensation, because you're not simply recirculating the same air. That can actually come out quite close to the companionway, and it'd be quite easy again to get the intake for the actual combustion chamber quite close to that. The big problem with this one is that we've got a massive great big run from the exhaust, and it's not quite clear how that would go. I can do one of these little up and down things so that if water kind of splashes in, it's very unlikely to drench it up to that point. Let's have a look at this. So that's the side view. If we have a look at this from the top, you can see that there are a few twists coming in here for the outlet. And in terms of the exhaust, I can either kind of cut underneath the sink through the engine bay, which would probably be preferable, and then out the back, or along and underneath the fuel tank. One of the things that concerns me about this, and I don't know, I haven't done the maths, and I'm probably not going to do the maths because I don't think this is the option I'm going to go for, is that the pressure here for the combustion chamber, for the inlet and the outlet, should be about the same, and I don't know what the back pressure calculation would be on this, particularly with the exhaust. In a true balance system, obviously, you would have these concentric, and I assume there are versions of that for a boat which will have these concentric, but it just worries me that these are too far apart. You don't want the air to start going in the wrong direction due to have all sorts of pressure problems. you know, these things are sensitive to pressure, and you can actually set them depending on how the elevation that you've got. Now, I can make the assumption, I think, that for 99% of the time I'm going to be at sea level with this boat, so that's quite an easy one to do. Anyway, let's go and have a quick look at this one on the boat and see what it actually looks like in practice. So yeah, this is the old mounting plate, which is about 1 millimetre thick. And I've actually gone for one of these L-shaped ones, which is about 3 millimetres stainless steel. Very, very solid, and obviously it's going to be easy to just kind of bolt this onto the side of something and put the heater on the top. So I thought that was worth going for rather than faffing about with making my own thing. Okay, so here's one possible place to put it. As you can see, this is kind of this void that's there because of the sink. So what I was thinking is this could actually go in there. There's plenty of room for it, and the nice thing about this, I mean, I could mount that quite easily using that plate that I showed you. I mean, the benefit of this is it's kind of a little bit of wasted space, and also if I can just dismantle this a bit, also I could get the air intake. I could have this pipe, hang on, so here we are. I'll put the sink back in, this is a bit clearer. So the heater would be kind of underneath here, and then coming up here I could have the air intake for the actual heater air, and also a small tube for the combustion chamber. This headlining, this is down like this if you haven't seen previous videos, because I need to do things on the deck, so I've just got it propped up at the moment. And then this could quite nicely kind of come underneath here and out here, which I'll show you on the outside, and this could go to a slightly different place. So let's have a quick look at the outside. This is the companionway. This is the area where I could put an air vent there, so this goes straight through and then along the top of the sink. The issue here is if I had the exhaust, which would come out that corner over there, it would probably have to go underneath the fuel tank and all the way back to here, so it's quite a long way. There is room to put it in there, although if I can show it, there's some kind of tabbing underneath there, so it would have to go underneath the tabbing that's got the fuel tank in it. So a little bit awkward and a very long way. Alternatively, and probably better, is that I could actually put it through the engine compartment, which we'll have a look at now. Right, so this is looking in the engine compartment, and roughly, if you can see it, where the that's where the water filter is. That's kind of where the exhaust would come out after putting it underneath the sink, and then to go all the way along, just kind of around about where this is the old gas line, where that went, along, and then you can see at the end where it would kind of go up. I'll crawl in there and have a look at that in a second. Do you know what? I could actually put another berth behind. This is huge, the area behind my engine. So that's another place where the exhaust could go. That is a very, very long way. This is actually option 3, but I'm showing it in second place, so which sounds a bit weird, but it's probably because this was my preferred option for a while, but I don't think I'm going to do it. So I'm showing it to you next. And this is to actually put the heater behind where the gas locker was. There's a bit of a void there where it'll just about fit, and it means I can get the diesel heater actually quite up a bit over the water line. If you look at this here, this is the side view, there's the water line. As I say, the advantage in that is it is up a little bit higher. There are various air inlets and things that I can do, probably even through the gas locker, so it kind of makes it into a bit of a derayed box. I'll show you that when I show you on the actual boat. The problem is everything starts to get very, very cramped here, and the accessibility isn't good. It was actually difficult to draw it, putting it back here. A reasonably straight run in terms of where the heater air, the warm air goes through, although there are actually quite a lot of things in the way here, and this is where the hatch is to get into the engine, and that's a little bit tricky. So we'll have a look at that and then see why I kind of discounted that as an option. Oh, right. So I don't know if you can figure out where this is, but this is the gas locker, and this is a lovely space just behind it. Actually, there is more room than I was thinking. So this is very, this is very awkward, but that could fit in there. Ooh, beginning to wonder now. Bad. And just here, by the way, and I'll show this from the outside, just here there is an air vent that could be used. So it's a question of getting the clamp up there, getting this fitted. So that's a kind of bulkhead at the end of the thing. The heater pipe could go through there, and then I'll show you what I'm thinking of. So this is effectively that bulkhead. So this is the other side. So in a way the heater pipe could kind of come out of here, go along, possibly hidden underneath the headlining which I've taken out, and then it could actually come out. Would this work? Hang on. It would come out sort of at head level rather than on the floor. So not really sure if this is an option, because that would kind of come out there. Right, so not really sure how clear this is, but this is the old gas locker, and the area is kind of behind it, and in fact, sorry, it just fell out. You can imagine this sort of down there, there's a gap just going down into there. Now the nice thing about this is that there's already an air vent where the old controls used to be, but also I could use this box, put some vents in it, and kind of have cowls and things, and as I said, make it like a sort of a door aid box, so there's no way that water could come in here, which would be great. But really, really awkward. That's the only trouble. To actually fit it in there is really awkward. So I think I've ruled out one of the options. So I've kind of ruled out putting it underneath the sink, but still not quite sure where the other one would be. So this is the one I'm probably going to go for. I originally labelled it as number 2. So this is the view from above. This is the heater again. Very straight run to the warm air outlet, which comes in just at the bottom of the companionway, which I've seen in a few boats. There are a few issues there, but that looks sensible to me. Very short runs for the inlet and the outlet, and there's a few things that I can do there, and I might not do these permanently at the moment because there's a few little options where I can get the air in and out around there, because obviously I want to make sure that no water can get in there. And then a relatively short run for the exhaust. So this is the air inlet into the combustion chamber and the exhaust, and there's not much different there. Let me do this from the side, so as you can see, and there is a big area where I can mount this. So originally I was a bit concerned that the heater was too low down, and I kind of wanted everything to be going downwards. I wanted the exhaust to be coming downwards. It's just not going to happen. So I'm going to put a silencer on. Oh, by the way, I am not using this silencer. This really is a silencer. It's not an airtight exhaust. It's actually got a hole in the bottom. This is to go underneath the van so that the water can drip out there. It literally is just to stop the noise. So I'm going to get a proper marine silencer there. You could argue that you don't actually need one, but anyway. So having seen that original drawing here where they kind of did that, I'm now actually much more relaxed and happy that this is going to work. There's a big area to install this on, very straight run out to the main cabin, and as I say, these air intakes, I will play around with those a little bit. I might install them on a temporary basis simply to get the boat warm and then do something else, but as I say, at the moment this is my preferred option. So let's go and have a look at the boat and see in practice why this one looks to be the best. Right, so this is not for the for anybody who feels a little bit claustrophobic, but because I'm literally lying down behind the engine. don't know if you can see this properly because I'm struggling a bit with holding the light and stuff. Ignore this, ignore the blue tube that you can see that's going, that's the bilge pump. So this is kind of where that would go, and then if I turn around here you can see that the heater outlet pipe could quite easily go against this the side here and down towards those are the steps there in front of the engine, which hopefully will make sense from the diagram. So this would work quite nicely. Selfie with my heater. I think you can see where that is, and you can see where stuff would come out the bottom. So this would work well. I'll try and take another shot of this without me sort of standing in the way too much. Very cramped space, and obviously that is a consideration because the next, you know, the ability to actually fit this will be easy to fit actually because I've just put the bracket on temporarily. Anyway, let's have a look at this from a different angle. Right, so this might be easier to see here, and one of the little leg things has fallen off, by the way, so I didn't make a very good effort of it. As I say, ignore this blue hose because that's the bilge pump and that's going to go in there, but there is a nice hole there where I could actually utilise. So this is just underneath this is the cockpit floor. You can see at the back there there's plenty of room, whoops, to get the exhaust kind of going up and then down again. This is where the heater air would come out, along here, down here, and out towards the front, and I'll show you that right now. So this is a good position in as much as it's very easy to get at. It's going to be very easy to install. Perhaps easier than the one just behind where the old gas bottle was, although that did look actually quite tempting. So jury's still out, but it is quite a struggle getting in and out of this space, to be quite honest. And I'm very glad I made this cardboard thing, by the way, because that was actually quite easy to just kind of put the bracket on there and then mock it up, and that will actually be quite easy to do the fitting. So from a sheer me not damaging myself point of view, this might still be the best option. And you can see how easy that is with the bracket just there. That's it, literally at the bracket there. The exhaust could go underneath. Yeah, sorry, the silencer could go underneath. Very, very easy. I've just got to make sure that I can get the air and so on sorted out for both the combustion chamber and the actual heater air. But I think that's okay. Not as easy as on the other side, but I think, yeah, I keep changing my mind on this one. So here's the companionway steps, and kind of this is where I would envisage this coming out in the corner. It would have to probably go up there a little bit. It's ever so slightly too wide, so I'd probably have to cut away at this or this a little bit, but that's certainly doable. And then you have a nice stream of air coming out at a lower level. So I think that would work well. Yeah, I do like this option. So in terms of the air vents, I would have to drill holes on this side. This is where the Morse control. Sorry, this is absolutely disgusting. I haven't cleaned it up yet. I haven't really cleaned it up since the boatyard fire last year. But I can have this kind of little cowl thing on here, and then have a loop to make sure this would be for the main air, or possibly I could get both of them. So 3 very different options, and it's make your mind up time. To be quite honest, given how much I ache after crawling on that, I think I've got a pretty clear favourite. But do give comments below, because I haven't started doing this yet, and I'll be very interested to see any opinions or ideas out there. Okay, thanks for watching.